All right, so I'm sure anyone that's a fan of Charlie Kirk's realizes that the hate that's coming, that's calling him a racist, that's calling him this, that, and the other, is just clearly from ignorant people that either, if they do believe what they're saying, have not consumed enough of his material, have not decided to look beyond a clip, a quote, a headline, to see the context and nuance of what he was saying. And he was a very, very intelligent person, very, very articulate, and rarely did he say something that was just, a quick one thing. There was always quite an in-depth, developed nuance to what he was saying. So here's a clip of AOC just doing your classic straw man argument where you're just dumbing down an argument to make it seem weaker and dumber than it actually is. I don't know if she's stupid, ignorant, she's probably not those things. She's not very intelligent, but she's definitely being, intellectually dishonest here, right? I don't think she believes what she's saying, none of which, most of these arguments on the left, I don't think they believe what they're saying, because they're just too weak. Their arguments don't hold up to any kind of scrutiny. So here, listen to what she has to say. I'll show what Charlie Kirk really said. And then, for anyone that's watching some of these things that, I'm going to try to put together as many of these as I can. So if anyone's got any clips, of, stuff where Charlie Kirk, he's been taken out of context, feel free to send them to me. And I'll make a little mashup, but that's what I'm researching right now because this is just ridiculous. The ignorance has got to end. Hopefully, some of these people will actually listen and go, "Oh, maybe I was wrong." Because once you find out that you're wrong about one thing that you really firmly believed, you kind of should, if you're not sub 80, you should start to question other things that you believe and maybe, hopefully, look into them a little bit more. Intelligent people understand context and nuance. So if you don't, and you're getting your worldview off of clips and headlines, and you're not investigating them, or someone like that, then, well, we all know what they're really like, right? They're not that intelligent, and they need to wake the fuck up.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
You said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to...
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that. That's not what the law only did. It created a massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action. For example, recently, Merrick Garland sued using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we cannot have voter ID in certain states because it's a violation of the Civil Rights Act. So basically what the Civil Rights Act did is that it went beyond disparate impact and then went to disparate effect. In the sense where if Black Americans are not doing as well as white Americans in a certain category, you can now use the Civil Rights Act and say that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act, even though there might be other contributing factors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's too broad, too wide, and it's now doing a lot of damage to the country. It's being used well beyond its original intent.